And what he explained was when he was born, we had 3 vaccines, and autism was 1 in 10,000. So what happened now? Autism is 1 in 34.
I can't believe this. Are we seriously doing this again? It's something of a cliche on YouTube to find videos titled, "I didn't want to make this video," or "This is a video I thought I'll never have to make," or something like that. But it's very much true here. I've been agonizing for days about whether or not to talk about this. But I believe this is now the most important issue in the 2024 U.S. presidential election, and it's getting comparatively little coverage. Before you start typing in the comments, "Hey, you should stick to electronics and not talk about politics," I first want to mention that this is the first time I've talked about politics, and secondly, I'm probably not even going to leave this video up for very long, and I dread what my comment section is going to look like. The alleged link between vaccines and autism is a zombie lie that just won't die. I'm going to include a link in the description to a video by H. Bomber Guy discussing Andrew Wakefield and the origins of this myth. If Elizabeth Holmes deserves to be in jail for the fraud she committed with Theranos, Andrew Wakefield deserves to be in jail for the fraud he committed and the damage he did.
He says, if you give me the data, all I want is the data, and I'll take on the data and show that it's not safe.
RFK Jr. has no mathematical background in statistics and no scientific background in biology or virology or immunology or anything like that. He would have no more ability to properly analyze such data than I would to perform open-heart surgery on you. I wouldn't claim to know what I was looking at in the data either. I'm not trained in this area. When scientists venture outside their area of expertise, you should be skeptical. Putting RFK Jr. in charge of public health is like putting a flat earther in charge of NASA.
And then if you pull the product liability, the companies will yank these vaccines right off of the market.
Yank vaccines right off of the market. Which particular vaccines is he referring to? Every politician supporting Donald Trump needs to be asked about this.
This is not where I thought this was going.
Caitlin Collins did a pretty good job of pushing back in this interview, but as she says, she doesn't have a science background, so she's not fully equipped to deal with this. This is a much bigger issue than some offensive jokes made by a comedian at Madison Square Garden, or Cardi B freezing when the teleprompter went out. This issue about vaccines and public health in general is even more important than Elon Musk admitting that his plans would crash the economy, causing hardship that Elon himself would not experience.
Look at it, it's
He
online.
wants the data so he can say, these things are unsafe.
This is not how science works. Yes, you formulate a hypothesis, but you can't make firm statements about it before you've even looked at the data. This whole thing reminds me of Trofim Lysenko, an agricultural official under Stalin in the Soviet Union, who didn't believe in genetics and whose ideas led to famines that killed millions of people.
We all know so many more people with autism than had it when we were young.
Okay, let's talk about that. First of all, the definition of autism has expanded over time. It's now seen as a spectrum, whereas when I was a kid, you would only use the term autism in the most extreme cases. We're also putting a lot more effort into diagnosing autism than we used to, so of course you'll see more cases reported. Now, there does seem to be a link between autism and maternal age, and nowadays women tend to have kids later in life than they used to. And there seems to be a link between autism and environmental factors such as air pollution. Now, as with any medical treatment, vaccines have a risk of side effects. You have to balance the benefits with the risks. So even if there was a link between vaccines and autism, that risk would have to be weighed against the benefits, and in particular weighed against the dangers of the disease.